Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Good, good, good. Just as you know, celebrating a birthday over here today.
Good.
recording this on my actual birthday. Yeah, there it is. It's out there, guys. Now you know.
Cheers
And
to Nico 316.
I was about to say Austin 316, Nico 316. There you go. Cheers. I do want to also add that at the time of this recording, I have been out celebrating majority of today. So if I'm a little, a little not up on things, let's say, even in my speech here today, you'll know that I had a few more than anticipated prior to celebrating here today on the show. Of course, looking forward to this conversation with Chris. But it's also the day before St. Patrick's Day, so I may or may not have an Irish bar by me. So yeah, looking forward to this conversation. This will be like one of those episodes where me and Chris are in person recording together, but instead it'll be mainly on my end here. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. If I'm not as crisp as usual here, that's as a result there. Unfortunately, because of not unfortunately because of the birthday celebrations. Fuck yeah, guys! I mean, what can I say? It's my birthday, so. But I'm happy to talk some comics for Chris here today. So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk these comics. But first off, let's make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to hear more possibly drunken rants on this. And this week, we're going to be talking about the new comics for the week of March 12th, 2025, that came out. Spoiler warning, be forewarned. If you're worried about getting spoiled about the books, too fucking bad. I mean, come back. too fucking bad. Come back. If you're worried about getting spoiled, come watch the book, the show another time. Read your books. Come back. Check us out. I'm off to a raring start here, by the way, Chris. And anyways, good stuff here ahead. Watch out for these reviews here. There's gonna be some great reviews. All right, Chris, you lead the way.
That's it. We got a lot of books to go through, so let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is dedication here, guys. I'm recording on my birthday. This is how much I'm looking forward to chatting comics with Chris. It's a good time. First up here, we got Jupiter's Legacy finale number 5. This is the last issue of the miniseries, actually closing out on Jupiter's Legacy. If we're gonna believe the title here from Mark Miller, this is it. What do you think, Chris?
Well, it's like I said, when we've been talking about this comic, this is my first sort of foray into Jupiter's Legacy or the Jupiter world. And, this whole series has been sort of up and down for me. I didn't see how they were going to freaking finish this out, but I think he did a good job at the end. Got a little bit hokey there with, the meaning of life and, humanity's struggles. But the action itself was pretty decent. You have all these Rangers coming down. Pretty much they're here just to wipe out all life of Earth, wipe out all life on Earth just for sport. And, there was some big alien cloud there that was ready to wipe out all life on Earth in like 5 or 6 seconds. And I guess I'm not sure that character's name, but the guy in the white Superman suit, he kind of pulls a fast one on them. I guess he used his universal translator to kind of hack that spaceship and got it to follow him. And he flew out to where the makers were, I guess. I'm not sure if they had a name. And, he kind of pleads with the makers, goes, look, we're not just animals here. We have life. I'm a father, and saying all this hokey baloney stuff. And he pulls a swerve on them and gets that ship basically to destroy the world of the makers. And I thought that was a big swing. And then once those makers were all destroyed, or that ship was gone, all the Rangers on Earth that had the power, they were getting fed up with I guess the nuisance of all these heroes, and they were about to turn off their powers and just wipe them out. And I like the call there is okay, switch off their powers, and nothing happens. And then they realize that force fields they had weren't doing anything. And the heroes that were around were, take them to town. And there's just some wacky ways too. I think that one lady that takes her dead brother and just kind of uses him uses his physical body there. That was kind of wacky. And yeah, then after they kind of get their victory, there's a few pages of the prologue where they just say how life on Earth and life in the universe is great now, and this quadrant of the universe is protected by these heroes, and life has been great for years and years and years. So it sounds like it's the end, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it ended in a place where I don't know if there's going to be much more. That being said, like, it's interesting to hear that you got what you got out of this series, like just kind of jumping in on this whole Jupiter's Legacy thing, because there's been like a few other miniseries prior to this volume, and I feel like this is your first one you read, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm happy to hear you got as much as out of it as you did, as opposed to like just coming in and be like, what the hell's going on? So I guess that speaks to the series. At least you got something out of it in that sense. But I liked it still. You know what? As much as like people talk shit about Mark Millar, about his books being like, at least in the past, people were like, oh, he's writing like real edgelord type shit, all like, extreme, like more dark and kind of like brooding kind of type of characters, and like dark situations and bad, like the nemesis type of characters and stuff that he writes. This had a lot of optimism towards the end of this. Like you said, all that hokey stuff that happened at the end of this issue about them actually planning a new way of life and like new direction, and like basically a utopia in the midst of everything that happened, of the fallout of this big bloody showdown that they had with this alien species. I thought that was actually, I thought it was unexpected, and I actually didn't mind it all too much. You're right. It was a bit hokey at times, but I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. The fact that you're actually going to give these characters in this story like some sort of hope, in the sense of a utopian type society where you're trying to fix all the wrongs of the world and you're all working together and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't mad at it. I agree with
Yeah.
you. Like, it was hokey, but I was like, you know what? We don't see enough of this, I feel like, in
Yeah,
comics.
it's weird that a happy ending is not a normal ending for a series, you know?
Right, right. So I actually, it kind of, and coming from Mark Millar of all people, I was a little surprised about it, to be honest with you. So I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it, but I agree with you. It was hokey at times. It was almost like eye rolly, but it was not bad. And I think there's not enough of that in comics today. So coming from this guy to kind of pull that move at the end of this, all these miniseries of these characters that he's written so far, I was like, okay, I can respect it. You tried to take an approach where they came out on top at the end of the day, and you tried to say like, this is what they're working towards. I can't fault him for that. I can't hate on the ending. Like, I think it's a so ending, but I like that he went for it. I like that he tried to like give that kind of messaging at the end of this. Like, it's not all like, he gave some hope for these people in this book, which is a lot. You're like you said, it's not common these days. So not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
So what'd you give this?
I give it a 3.75, just more because I'm not too familiar with all these characters. They had kind of big reveals. I didn't know who these people were. So that's the only reason that, I might have had more impact if I was more familiar with the characters.
No, I give the same rating for this, honestly, overall. I feel like earlier volumes of this, like earlier miniseries of these characters, were better. That being said, I don't think it was a bad ending, and it may be maybe one of the weaker miniseries as a whole overall, but I'd also give it 3.75 out of 5. But if you guys have never read these, the first, I think, two in particular, because it becomes Jupiter's Legacy, and then it's like Jupiter's Circle, which tells the stories of the same characters that were in Jupiter's Legacy, like in the past, like prior to them becoming like a big super team. Kind of felt like Watchmen-esque. And then like the last two Jupiter's Legacy miniseries, I feel like more about the kids of the Justice League type characters that we met in the first couple of miniseries. So that's kind of the trajectory of how he went with these miniseries, if anybody's interested out there. If you guys watch the honestly, the Netflix show that came out, I think it came out just before the pandemic or during the pandemic, and it got canceled right away. I liked that show, but it got canceled right away, like one season in. Like Netflix just axed it, and Mark Millar has a deal with them, or had a deal with them, right? So to produce his shows, but all these shows haven't done well that he's done so far, and he keeps talking about how they're still coming out. So I don't know, but if you watch that show and didn't like it, I honestly feel you should check out the comic, because the comic is better than the series was, in my opinion. But anyways, all right, Chris, Babs number 6.
What can you say about Babs? Love this series.
Yeah.
And this was the end of the series here as well. And what can you say? It's still great. It's just
There's a
like I said,
giant dick in this one, Chris. Come on. What are you going to say? There's a huge cock in this one.
what did she do to give it? Like, was there like some sort of potion or something she made him swallow?
A cock enlargement potion. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, it's like it's taking up the whole panel.
Just disappears. And then that talking sword. It's like, oh, you're not going to stick me in there, are you? But it was a good, it was a good battle. She got her beats in the beginning there until, I guess that Mork character, he sort of had his moment of truth, whether he's gonna help Babs or help these people that are, that have turned on him. He sure took his sweet time to make that decision. And then he feels like, after he made that decision, like, he should be redeemed. It's like, what are you thinking, bud? Could have passed that sword a whole lot earlier. Babs took a few shots there while you're thinking about it. But at the end of it, I thought there was a great series. It's a surprise for me. And I think there's more coming, and I can't wait for it.
I absolutely agreed with you. Yeah, I can't wait for more of this. They're talking about it. I read some of the notes by the creators there in the end of the issue. Jason Burrows, who drew this, he said it was like one of the best, the most fun he's ever had drawing something in his career. And I'm a huge fan of this artist. And I absolutely agree. This is a treat to see him draw this type of story, because he hadn't drawn something like this before. And honestly, that whole with the whole ending and like how it kind of came about in this one with the huge cock. I'm immature, sure, with like humor sometimes, but this just made me. I was laughing out loud, like literally read this. I'm like, oh my god, that's so ridiculous. But he doesn't, like, he throws that in there, but it's not at it's not like the storytelling or the character stuff is any less as a result of him throwing those jokey things in. Honestly, it's a really well written series, and I love this character Babs, and I like at the end of the story they had her catch up with all the people she kind of had come across throughout the series, the people that she liked and the people she didn't like. She kind of touched base with all of them, and even that knight who had to remember she was in captivity, and he had to
He's still struggling with his deeds.
Yeah, he had to get with a giant at one point in order for her to escape. So again, it doesn't let up on the humor and the perverse kind of stuff that they touch on, but at the same time, underneath that all, this is the good thing about if you're a Garth Ennis fan, he's able to still bring it back and write actually really good characters with layers to them. And I honestly think that's what this series is. There's a lot of funny moments with them, but she's a great character at the end of the day. And I really look forward to more of this. I've already ordered the trade paperback of this. I pre-ordered this, and I look forward to adding that to my collection. And if there's more of it, I'll definitely check it out. I didn't order the issues outright for this one, but I might even order it next time it comes out, honestly, in solicitations if it comes out again, because it was a really fun series. I really liked this one. So yeah, good stuff. What'd you give this?
No, I give this issue a 4. I give the series a 4.25. Easy.
Yes, agreed. Yep. Yeah, same ratings for me. Yeah, very good. Good stuff. All right, Chris. DC versus Vampires World War V number 7. Got my issue right here.
I got a variant cover for this one here.
Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that's a good one. The Wonder Woman one. Yeah.
Nice. I think it's Fung.
Nice.
And this is another banger issue here. They didn't start this second half off on the soft end. This was full on battle. I think we left Darkseid or Darkseid was just showing up. And well, I guess here and there they started out introducing, I guess, a bunch of robot type characters that have been mulling about in the background, and it looks like they're ready to enter the fray. And then it just goes right into the battle, and the humans think that vampires have something to do with all these parademons, but they can suss out that it's not the vampires, and the vampires think the same thing, like what's going on here, and just chaos ensues, I guess. The battle between Darkseid and Wonder Woman, I can't complain about that. You're almost cheering for Wonder Woman again, even though she's evil. And you kind of realize what's going on, or you realize why Darkseid is showing up there, and kind of how he ended up, kind of noticing Earth. And I guess the Atlanteans too. They had something going on. Are they vampires down there? Because Mira looked like she had fangs.
Yeah, I think she is. I think that was like what they were alluding to there at the end. That's what I took it as. Although, like, yeah. Well, Mira was in. She was in the Black Mana costume. So no, I don't think they are vampires. But did she look like she had fangs in the art? I didn't think they were, but they definitely, yeah, because it was Mr. Miracle that went to them for salvation at the end of this issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know actually if they are or not. You're right. I should look at the page is going to come up here in a moment. I think I just got the view from behind of her, honestly, in the art, because they kind of show her walking up. Let me just take a look here in the issue, though.
Yeah, I think when she's getting the news that Aquaman is dead.
Oh yeah, I know. It does look like she's got fangs. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at the scene here with, it looks like between her and one of her people there, like, yeah, giving her the news. Yes. Yeah, I guess there's a bunch of the vampires now, which I don't know. I guess we've lost track of somewhat of, like, there's ones that are working with the humans, it seems like.
Yeah, like that kind of Damien and his crew, they were sort of
That's right.
kind of on the human side, I guess.
And then the people that are working for Wonder Woman, or was it Batgirl? Batgirl.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman was one of Batgirl's generals, let's say. Like, I
Yeah.
think her and Grodd, they were working with Batgirl or Batwoman, whatever, Barbara Gordon.
Right. And then now that one of the new gods, Metron, there showed up, who is kind of teased about previously in the series. And he kind of finally lays out the whole situation with these characters, about the new gods, about Darkseid being one. He's familiar with him, about Mr. Miracle being a new god. I like the approach to this because, like, people like you had mentioned, you're not really familiar with the new gods so much, and even me, I have limited knowledge about them. But he had mentioned here, he kind of gives you a breakdown of the relationship between those characters and where they're coming from, and like how the fact that Darkseid is now like up against them is not they should watch out for the fact that he's in the mix now. And yeah, I like that, because Mr. Miracle, he's been trying to hide his kid this whole time. And he grew up in Apocalypse, right? So like now he's like afraid of who this kid is, and he's out there to try to kill him. But now he's in the midst of all these vampires, right? So it's interesting what's going on with this story, and I like where they're going with the story so far. Honestly, it's very good so far. I like it. I'm glad that they haven't given up on this. Like, one successful series out, and then they're like, that's it. That's enough of this, right? Yeah. What'd you get?
I'm kind of glad that they put the swerve in with Darkseid showing up. It's adding a whole new level to the story, and I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
So I give this a 4, no problem.
Same. Yeah, good issue this week. Absolutely. All right, there's a couple here I wish I had read in time for the show there. Chris read, but Absolute Superman #5. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Well, I know you heard a lot of good things about it, and I'm sort of raining on your parade.
Oh,
it wasn't bad.
Okay.
Let's say. A lot of this had to do with the Krypton, I guess, backstory with Superman trying to leave his world, and how the elite there, they knew that the planet was blowing up, and they were building their own ships. And then I guess the Kent family, the Jor-El family or whatever, they built their own ships, and they're trying to save their, whoever they could. And they get on their ship and they get away. But all the elites, none of their ships end up leaving the ground because all the people found out about it and they kind of stormed the capital and everything got destroyed there. But you kind of get some hope that Superman, and it wasn't just Kal-El being taken off on a spaceship by himself, but they were managed to save almost pretty much the town that they were living in, and that ship lifts off. But then things go haywire from there. Something attacks the ship and they all blow up, and basically I think that red dust kind of integrates with them, and then everybody they're all separated. And I think that his parents might get smoked in this as Superman sort of takes off and I guess survives the destruction of his planet. And then it goes back to the mainline story, and we got the Superman there. He's just looking for, I guess, the Peacemaker. I think what's his name, Christopher Smith or something. And he's kind of searching for him, and I guess he feels the rage coming on, and he goes, "I just got to take a break." And the story ends up with him showing up at Smallville. Like, you have all this momentum going, and he goes, I'm just going to take a break. Like, come on. Killed me. That part just killed the story. Like, I wasn't a big fan of all the Krypton stuff to begin with, but then just to put a pause on the story here, maybe something's going to happen here that's interesting, but if this is the big cliffhanger that he's going back home, got me hanging on the edge of my seat there. Not.
I was gonna say that, like, I'm almost, with what you're saying, I'm probably in line with thinking once I actually get around reading this as well, for that matter, because like like we were both a bit underwhelmed, I feel like, by this series. But yeah, I was hearing positive things from other people about this one. But yeah, I probably would agree with what you're saying based on what you're saying about this issue. But I will say, though, putting the art together, though, this was an interesting last page that they left it. I like how his cape looks like going into Kansas there into Smallville. I really, as a page in and of itself, I thought this was an interesting looking one, and it made me wonder about this issue despite me not reading it yet. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how I feel about it. But what you're saying, it rings true to how the run has been so far for me, and I think it's overrated, quite frankly. But I will say, though, the Absolute stuff is doing gangbusters in stores. The Absolute stuff, like, I've seen people going into the store there, and they're literally like, give me all the Absolute comics you have. Like, whatever, it is working for them. Yeah, I have honestly witnessed that. There's people going in there and being like, I'm just like, catch me up with this Absolute stuff. I've heard nothing but good things about this Absolute stuff. So I think overall it's been very successful for them in that regard. Like, and I think, like, I think the one thing that's bringing people in is that it's a good starting point for people getting in that want to get into the comics. Like that's I can't fault them for that, because I think that's what the Ultimate Spider-Man was for a lot of people. I think that's what a lot of these things are for some people. It's good starting points. I think comics, it makes them feel like they can't get in on the ground floor a lot of the time, right? Like, because there's so much history and continuity. No, I hear you. You're right. The old school way of thinking of that is just jump in, pick up an issue, get into it, right? That's how we started doing the show.
You read it, you like it, keep on going. You don't, then don't.
This is exactly how you got back in the comics and we started doing this show, because we were both reading them. Yeah, no, I hear you. I just feel like, I think that anytime there's an opportunity to get more people in, I understand why they go for these initiatives in this sense, right? Because I'm saying it firsthand. I've seen it. I've seen the excitement in people's eyes. Oh, you got all the Absolute issues? They don't even know what's out or what's out there. They just want to read Absolute this, Absolute that. I got a guy talk to me about Absolute Martian Manhunter the other day. It's a miniseries. I'm like, do you even know who Martian Manhunter is? You know what I mean? No, it's good. It's good to see it.
He's Martian. He's the Manhunter.
Right. What else do you need to know, right? So, anyways, I also, Scott Snyder recently, this past week, there was an article out. He said that Absolute Wonder Woman is going to be the first of the Absolute characters to make a connection between the other characters in the universe, apparently. So that's I guess he's orchestrating this whole line, right? So that's.
But how could these people not hear of each other? Okay, maybe it's Superman you might not have heard of because he's doing all this stuff in the in the backwoods of the world. Batman, okay, he's not doing much, but definitely they should have heard of Wonder Woman. She had her big broadcast. There's been a giant freaking kaiju coming up on some city. You figure that would have made news in Batman's world, wherever he is, if everything's going on at the same time.
Right.
Like, you would have seen watching the news. Oh, hey, over in whatever Gateway City, freaking giant monster came out of the sea. That'd make the headlines, I believe.
Right. So I guess we'll see. What'd you
Yeah.
give this though? Absolute Superman.
It was a better issue, but I still gotta give it 3.75.
Okay. Geiger number 12, Chris. Disappointed I didn't read this. Are you picking it up now? Oh,
Picking it up.
hey.
I've been
Nice.
reading this one digitally for a while. I think I tried to get a few issues earlier. At the time I started pulling it is when the Diamond Comics issues arose, and I think Image was really on the back end of that stuff. So I was just happy to get this issue with I forget what her name is again on the front here, but I guess the Glowing Man too, or the Glowing Woman.
Yeah, she's great.
And, the story has been just moving along at a good pace here, and I think at the last issue, Geiger was planning on just leaving, and the girl there was willing to kind of teach Geiger how to control, I guess, his radioactivity. And so a lot of this issue is her trying to get him to control it, and to kind of find his inner peace. He has to go back into some of his thoughts or some of his memories. Not a big fan of that, but I'll take it. And then anyway, so she takes him out to, I guess, some town hill where there's a bunch of outcasts there that think they've inherited the world, and God put the radioactivity in the world to cleanse it, and the world is theirs. So they're kind of a bunch of near do wells, basically expendable people that you can kill. And she takes them out there because they were part of the group that might have killed that Dr. Molotov, I think his name is. And so she just wants to go there and sort of get revenge and train Geiger to kind of not lose control. And then, so, they kind of, they confront these, I guess, mutant type, well, I don't want to say mutant, but this riffraff out in the hills, these hill people, let's say. And yeah, they don't take too kindly to these strangers. And, even just having there that yellow page there, like, you just see, I think Tariq is about to explode there, and that is the spread of the middle page, like the middle comic, the double page. It's just big yellow page, and it works.
Yeah.
But Tariq goes haywire, and he ends up blasting everybody, like with like almost an atom bomb type of scenario. And of course, he regrets it afterwards. And then that glowing lady, what's her name? Freak, I gotta remember that.
I don't remember her name either. Yeah.
But I guess she can absorb all the radioactivity. And, she goes, okay, this is why we got to trade you. And I think at the end of this, Geiger realizes that, he wants to be part of this group. And, she kind of takes him in and accepts her kindness or compassion, let's say.
Ashley Arden.
Ashley Arden, that's it.
Yeah.
So, she's kind of running that town that they're staying in, in Junkyard Joe and the Knight and the little zebra. They all seem to enjoy that. As soon as you get this, Ashley Arden gets in your good graces, he accepts. Oh, then you see her walking down a freaking closet or some basement hallway. The light's red on her, and when I saw that coming, oh no, don't make her a bad person.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's bad or not, but she's got some secrets.
Yeah.
And then that doctor that sort of created her and
Yes.
Tariq,
That he thought was dead.
She's been keeping him in the basement.
She said he was dead. I remember he came out there. He's like, "This guy alive? Oh no, he died." Like that's what when he first showed up there. She's like, "Yeah, I'm aware of that guy. He died like years ago or whatever." Someone said he died to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he was almost a mentor to Tariq and to her. Or at least that was her story. And then you find out that she's got him kind of locked up in the basement.
Right.
So
yeah,
I thought that was a pretty
is
sweet swerve. Although I don't want to see this Ashley Arden character go sideways. Maybe she's got a good reason, but it's not looking good for her.
No, I agree. I love this series though. I didn't read this issue in time for the show, but I was talking with some other folks too. This Ghost Machine stuff, honestly, great stuff so far. There's a lot of great series going on. I was talking to somebody, his favorite series, even though he's reading all of them, was Hyde Street. You know what I mean? So like,
I hear a lot of people liking High Street. It's
that
not really connecting with me, but
last issue was really good. You didn't read it for the show last week.
yeah.
I did. That was really good. But yeah, there's a lot of people connecting with it, like you said. Yeah. So I mean, even if you weren't in that last issue per se, like there is a lot of other people that were checking that out. So it's good to hear. I mean, it's good that big creators are able to step away from big two comics and connect with folks based on new character creations like this, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm loving the Geigers. Give me like some Fallout 4 vibes. Give me some Walking Dead vibes. And yeah, I'm good with it.
What'd you
I
give it?
give it 4.25.
Wow. Nice. Very nice. All right. Next up, we got Aquaman #3, Chris.
Yeah, I just read this one online. I think I missed the last issue. And I guess Aquaman, did they go through some gate or something and they're kind of in some other world or
Yeah,
other dimension?
that's right. Yeah, because this is like they're talking about the whole like the red, the green, and now there's the blue, which is like like with you have the red for Animal Man, you have the green for Swamp Thing. Now they're kind of diving more into the whole history of the blue, which is the Aquaman, the water creature kind of like essence, essentially like power, the source that they're talking about. So
Yeah, so I think this one starts out with, a bit of a flashback here again with Aquaman and his dad. And, Aquaman's complaining that the kids are making fun of his dad, that, he's missing out on life because he's just living in the lighthouse there. And then I guess lightning strikes the lighthouse and blows out the bulb. And then there's a ship coming in and they got to get this lighthouse lit before, to protect the ship. And then, from what I understand, I guess they're maybe in this blue realm here. And Aquaman's trying to find his family. And I guess some big bad that is looking to use Aquaman as his avatar, like as an avatar of the blue force, let's say. That's this, I think it's this character up here that's sitting
yeah,
up on the
yeah,
throne there.
yeah, yeah.
And I think he's just basically trying to chase him down. It's an okay story. I don't mind this stuff. It's good stuff for Aquaman, and I'm interested in reading more of it. But I'm getting a little. These colors are kind of getting played out a little bit. I think they try and do some explaining about all the forces of the universe here too. And it kind of touches on the Green Lanterns and how all these powers get dispersed through the universe and all that stuff. But that's fine. But I think that's a little unnecessary. Rather just keep it to the story.
Yeah, and the guy that showed up at the end of the last issue, Orion, I think it's Orion, whatever his name, Arion. He
Yeah.
is like an old school, like he's an Aquaman. He's a character of his world that's been around in the comics for a while now. He shows up at the end of the last issue, and from what I saw from putting the art together here, I even read the first few pages. I didn't read the whole issue. I didn't get around to it, but he's in this part of the story as well. So
Yeah, I think he's traveling with Aquaman, he's trying to get the answers to what happened to his family and stuff like that.
yeah.
I think there might have been a swerve at the end. There's, I guess, a Superman girlfriend or something that they mentioned. That seemed to be a big deal, but that was lost on me. Yeah, I'd give it a 3.75.
Yeah, sounds about right. It hasn't been bad.
Yeah, it's still good stuff. It's a good looking comic.
Then we got Spawn 362. No art for this one, but what'd you think of this?
Let's see where did I put it? These Spawn books, they're crazy still. Whatever, I can't see what's going on there. Nobody can see that.
Yeah.
Just the A cover. But supposedly in the Spawn world, they're all depowered, and I guess maybe the last few issues they got repowered. And so basically it's all a power play, and everybody's trying to choose up sides. It sounds like there's 4 sides. There's heaven, hell, the vampires, and the humans. And I think there's a team here with, what do they call him? Like some Maharaja Spawn. And he's got like Tremor with them, and they're trying to kind of lure Spawn to be on his side. Of course, he doesn't want to join them. And then he battles this other Spawn that seems to be pretty powerful. And now it's nice seeing everybody has their powers back, and I think was who's this one by Brent Booth. It's
Usually,
crazy what he does in here. Just all the detail in there. Sometimes you just get lost in the pictures. You know what's happening all the time because he got his freaking his cape is out there doing things. You got the chains flying everywhere. You don't even know how someone is even getting attacked sometimes. But it's fun to look at. And of course, Spawn decides not to join the team, and then he takes this other, I don't know, freaking this more powerful Spawn, and he kind of takes him into the void. And and they kind of have more of a metaphysical type battle, and the other Spawn is saying, "Look, you're going to end up joining us sooner or later. We gotta kind of get our all our line up all our ducks in a row because war is coming again." So I guess, and that's how that one sort of ended. Oh, he ends up kind of battling this one and beats the Spawn, and he's curious as to who's underneath all the armor, so he rips it all off. And it turns out to be his wife under there, Wanda, somehow living and breathing. So that was a big swerve. We'll see where that goes. So, like I say, these Spawnish just remind me of like what's that? They're like Dragon Ball Z episodes. It doesn't move the story a lot. It just like moves the story 1 point, but there's like a ton of action to get to move that story up one step.
yeah.
And for art, this is freaking definitely easy, like 4.5, but just altogether, I'd still give it maybe a 3.75 or a 4.
Okay, not bad though. And then finally here you got which I this is the first one you're gonna be talking about solo that I haven't read. This is The Moon is Following us, number 7. I didn't read this in time.
Yeah,
I didn't get my issue. I ordered it, but I didn't order it. I failed to order it, so I didn't get my issue in time. I'm disappointed about this. What'd you think of this?
yeah. So you've been talking about the last few issues. I think I started out with the first couple issues, and then I kind of just kept up from the story that you've been telling. So I got to jump in on this. Man alive, this is one wacky freaking issue here. I think they introduced, I guess, that nightmare team, and that is a wacky bunch of characters. Like, what's going on with this Daniel Warren Johnson guy? I don't know if this is like I don't know what's happening in his mind, but this is just crazy. He's got to see a psychiatrist or a therapist or something. But I don't know, there's like they have their how they have every team has their kind of their 5 types. There's a strong guy. His name is like it's Prime, but written backwards, Prime Alpha or Alpha Prime. And he's like a big cardboard character. And I guess his power he can do origami to himself or something. He's like clickety click or something like that. And then they go through all these other characters. And I think did they just win a battle or something? Because they seem to be sort of licking their wounds here and kind of putting pieces of the puzzle together. I think the mother realizes that she had unresolved issues, I guess, towards her mother's death or her mother leaving her or something like that. And like I say, I guess the mother or the grandmother seems to be the main antagonist here, and she comes in with all her forces to attack them, and then the wife, kind of makes peace with the mother and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry it took me so long to, resolve these issues." Then once she said that, it's sort of all the ghosts or whatever, those enemies all just kind of turn to dragonflies and then fly away. But then now I guess it's the father's turn to face his demons. Because now it looks like I think it's Uncle Jeff or something. Uncle Jeff shows up, and then that kind of shocks the father into some of his memories. It doesn't look like they're good memories. It's like his parents dropping him off with Uncle Jeff. It's okay. Uncle Jeff's going to take care of you tonight, and we're going to go out and have some fun. And then you just see the kid in his room here, and Uncle Jeff walking out saying, "Oh, this is just a secret between us." Those are never good secrets. I'll say that much.
No.
And then you just see the father lying on the ground at the end of this, like freaking just bug eyed.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
guess he has some issues he's got to work through.
Oh my God. I didn't know. I don't care that you said that, but I didn't know it was going to take a turn like that in this story.
Well, there's another one scene in there when I was talking about that Alpha Prime guy when they're fighting. I guess some of these demons or whatever's coming to attack them. This big whatever, like cardboard monster, it turns himself into like a paper gun. And then you don't know what it's gonna shoot. You just see the guy, the father, he just like pulls the trigger, and it shoots him. He's like an elastic gun, and it fires him through this like the neck of some snake. Like
Yeah.
what the heck? What's going on
Uh,
here?
yeah,
But
I get what you're saying about he may need some like
and
therapy.
then then it takes that dark turn at the end. I'm like, oh wow,
You know what it is? Like I feel like he takes like any even like minute like any like real life type of situations and like he takes it and puts it into his writing and puts like a fantastical twist on a lot of the stuff. Like because like
yeah,
all of Daniel Warren Johnson's stuff that he's written so far as a writer artist has all been like very family oriented like for like very like there's a
yeah,
lot of like heart to them, but they're always something about family issues or
yeah.
always
This is
something
like that
about
the Power Slam one. That was the father and daughter
right,
dynamic or
right.
something,
The
and the
mother,
mother left them, where the father ended up killing the mother, but
right,
the
right,
daughter never knew that.
right. So like I feel like he has all these similar ideas like that, whether it's taken from personal experience or not. But he just like he takes that out in his storylines essentially, like in that sense. Like he'll like layer these storylines out as a result
Yeah.
through a comic series. And it's interesting to say the least. But yeah, I agree with you. Like some of
I
this,
know, and then this Uncle Jeff is, I don't know if he's got a hole in his head, but there's like a moon there, and then like
yeah,
I wonder whether this moon is following us, and maybe there's just some like lunar symbolism throughout the whole thing. But
right here.
it looks like it looks like his head is eclipsing a moon or something.
This is him here, I guess. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. What'd you give this?
Still good reading though. I give it a 4.
No, I love this series. This is the one issue I didn't read in time for the show because I didn't get my copy. So yeah. All right, good stuff. Next up, I got Namor #8. This is the end of this 8-issue miniseries written by Jason Aaron, art by a couple of different artists. What I forgot both the artists' names here. This Davidson and Limbs. One of the ones is the artist, this guy who did this page here. He's the artist that was on that Plastic Man No More series. Alex Limbs, I think, is his name that we just read. Yeah, so they kind of use both these artists to kind of show like past occurrences and current day occurrences. And I thought it was really well done. Like Alex Limbs, I think did the scenes where he was younger Namor, and then the other artist did like the current day Namor stuff. And I liked it, and I think that this series overall was a pretty good series for Namor. A lot of like like character kind of stuff here that happened. It really built him up, and at the end of the day, like basically Namor is no longer like the whole time this series was like the way it was headed was that Namor was going to become the king of Atlantis again. But at the end of it, he was like, no one's going to be the king anymore. I'm calling in some sort of like so
We're going to be a democracy now.
exactly. That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. But he said it like, I don't know, in his own terms, in terms of like the Atlantis society, whatever. But yeah, essentially, that's what he said. It's a democracy now. No one man is a ruler of Atlantis anymore. And then King Neptune came at him in the form of like a fish of some sort. And he kind of started like kind of barking at him, coming at him. And he kind of like, just basically swatted him away. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. And this is the new status quo. So there's no king anymore. Namor does not want to be the king anymore, which is kind of like the sentiment across this whole series. He didn't want to deal with them anymore. He didn't want to be the one, but he was the only worthy one, it seemed like, to rule them. And as a result, he had to kind of seed everybody out and make sure like no one else was worthy, which they weren't. And by the end of this, though, he's like, our whole society is based on a lie. Therefore, no one should be in charge. And he basically set up a whole council of people in Atlantis to basically figure out all the issues. Therefore, that happens as a result of living there. So yeah, like you said, democracy kind of society that are going on here. He's got a whole council that he set up. And then whether or not he went to jail at the end here, it's kind of up in the air. Like it seems like he kind of didn't go back into captivity because he was in the jail at the start of this. but he's on the lam, essentially. No one knows where he is. And after he dealt with this whole situation and, see, he was like, yeah, I figured all this shit out. I'm going to fuck off now. That's pretty much what happened. And so Namor's like, I don't know, like he's out who knows what's going to happen with the next. I kind of like how he left it, Jason Aaron, in that sense. Like he left it out open for any writer to pick up the character and do an interesting thing.
Yeah, so is this happening in the main timeline, let's say? Like this isn't a flashback or anything.
No.
Yeah, so Namor's sort of back on the table now.
Absolutely. And there is flashbacks in this, but it was more to relate to the person Namor was and what kind of like the person he is now and how that person he was, what he learned better informed the individual he is now, or what has happened to him in his history to kind of make him decide to go the route that he did
because sort of up until now he's been in jail or something, right? That's why I haven't seen much of him. Like I haven't seen any of them basically since I started reading comics.
No, he's been in jail. That at the start of the series they let him out, and then of course he had to go back and fight against the whole reason that the guy let him out at the start of the series was to straighten shit out in Atlantis because it got out of control because everyone's fighting for the chair.
Yeah.
And he kind of came through, took them all out, sorted them all out, said like, none of you are worthy to be a leader. I've decreed this. Therefore, now we're going to become a democracy and there's a council to make decisions. And that is not the way that Atlantis is going to run anymore. And neither am I going to be involved. So he kind of stepped away. You know what? Like when it all said and done, it was actually a very good series to get him to this place in time as a character in the Marvel Universe. I actually was like, okay, I'm actually interested to see where this goes now from here, honestly, because it's been a while since Namor has been the king of Atlantis for as long as I've been reading comics, as far as I'm concerned, right? So the fact that he doesn't have any interest in being it anymore, and like he's called out his whole societal kind of views of like the reason why they're at, I was like, okay, you know what? That's actually pretty interesting angle. I'll give it up to Jason Aaron. I'll give this a 4 out of 5 the more I speak about it. Overall, the series, I think it dipped in the middle in terms of the quality of the storytelling, or like at least the what was going on in the story. So I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5 overall, but I thought it ended very well. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 overall for the last issue anyways. Overall though, 3.75, still a good series. If you guys are a fan of Namor, definitely check this out. Absolutely. And then we got Void Rivals number 17. This was good. A lot was revealed this issue. If you guys haven't been reading this, or you just missed out on this issue like Chris did, definitely go check this out. A lot was revealed in this issue. Still a little bit confusing. I will say that it's a little bit confusing, even though they finally revealed what's happening here. This one, the female character out of the two Void rival people that were part of different species and different people in space here, she finally meets like her maker, essentially, like the woman that's like they basically like, you know, the person that they look up to, that's like their god, essentially. Like people, like she meets her, this woman, and she reveals all this past history of what had happened with them being involved with the Energon universe, like how they all were on Cybertron together once upon a time. And basically, just to give you the bit of the gist of it, because I was a little confused also how everything was explained. They worked together. There was a bunch of evil creatures, the quintessence that came across them and basically tried to take these people out, and they banded together to cast them away. And in doing so, there was a new emergence of this person. I forgot what their name was here. The Solent or whatever. Basically, this thing you see creeping in the background of this panel.
Looks like Batman's coming from Offworld.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, they put this person, they threw this person at them, and they couldn't overtake this person. So as a result, they created something almost like a phantom zone type of situation where the two things that come together that form that bond between the Void Rival kind of characters that they've talked about so far, where that's basically keeping that person in captivity, this creature that they couldn't beat. So now there's a whole idea between the two people that if they let this thing out, the whole reason they put this thing in there is that they wanted to weaken this person so they can finally basically get rid of them. But one side thinks that they should let them out so they can do away with them once and for all. The other side, which is the guy character in Void Rivals, got the android and everything else, whose father thinks he's a traitor now, believes that they should keep this thing in there and never bring them out. And as a result of this, their two people have been at war for fucking I don't know how long, which is, again, it's a long way to go to explain the reason. This is my understanding of the story. I don't know. It's a little confusing. But from what I understood, they contained this thing that they couldn't beat. And some believe that they should be kept in there, and some believe that they should let it out of there, and then they can do away with them once and for all. And that's basically what this whole Void Rivals rift between these two people that used to be one, that used to be part of the planet Cybertron, are now not seeing eye to eye on, and their beliefs. So that's basically what this Void Rival series is. They reveal all that in this issue. Maybe you can read it and be the judge if I've missed something in the details. But like I said, it was a little bit of a convoluted kind of like story that she was telling and explaining in this issue.
Well, at least the title makes sense now.
Yes. Yeah.
The monsters in the void, and then they're the rivals.
Exactly.
Kind of deciding what to do with it.
Exactly. So this guy's father really comes at him in this issue and says, "You're wrong. This is the wrong way to go about things. You're going to regret this." And she's like, "I just want to help my friend." And the other person's literally speaking to the person that was also involved in coordinating this whole movement, that one that they all look up to and bow down to and everything else. That's like I said, their god or whatever that she sees. And the son here is like, "Listen, I just want to help you. I would enjoy the fact that you be honest with me for once and tell me what we're fighting for." So yeah, it's not bad. I give this 4 out of 5. It was a good issue, but like I said, it's a little confusing, and in the grand scheme of things, 17 issues in, was this story worthwhile telling? You got to be the judge of that yourself. I think overall it's a pretty good story still, but yeah, a lot going on to get this far. And it's in the midst of the whole Cybertron, G.I. Joe, Transformers type of thing, right? So I don't know. It's interesting though. I'll give him that. Kirkman went for a story outside of that stuff. That's what I appreciate about it. Like, Kirkman's like, I'm going to create an whole new storyline in the midst of the G.I. Joe Transformers universe. And
I just don't see how he's going to get G.I. Joe to fit in. I can see how these Void Rivals and Transformers are connected.
Yes.
And how G.I. Joe gets in the mix. I know they seem to be pretty much outclassed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. So there we go. Transformers number 18, Chris. What'd you think of this?
Oh.
Got my issue here too.
Yep. This Jorge Corona, the holy smokes. He is killing.
He's great.
There, I think I got a variant cover.
Oh, very nice. Let's take a look at that.
Warren Johnson cover.
That's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one too. Nice.
And once again, shit's hitting the fan again. And this is a big month for comics. A lot's going on in a lot of these issues. We have Starscream and Soundwave. They're pretty much going at it. You have a big battle between, Bruticus and Devastator. And then basically you have the Transformers. They're at the bottom trying to save as many people as they can, because this city looks like it's getting destroyed. But however, it starts out with I guess a Cybertron scene there where the Autobots look like they're sort of about to get their asses handed to them. And I think in the last issue they reignited a spark for somebody, and this character comes to fruition here in this issue. And he kicks some heavy ass there too. He's got some energy sword, and I think he takes out one of the jets. I'm not sure if that's Starscream that he takes out. But that was some great action there too. So this one's just action packed all around, and you get some stuff with the Rumble or whatever, Starscream or Soundwave throws out Rumble onto the Astro train, and Starscream's in there, and he's all blasted. Then you have like a good throwdown between basically Soundwave and Starscream.
Yeah.
And Soundwave is just giving Starscream the bullets. He's like, "Look at you, you're a bum.
Yeah.
You're relying on human technology just to get around."
You care
And,
about
you think,
your tapes. He like says like, you care about is your tapes or whatever that you got in
yeah,
you.
they get some good digs on into each other. And then Starscream gives him like some freaking Samoan headbutt there, and they're about to throw down, and then all you hear is like enough, and you know who's showing up there. And basically I thought this in the comic just looks great though. Like, it wasn't I didn't feel it was a very impactful introduction to Megatron, but just kind of him here, it's like the father coming to his
Yes.
his annoying kids there that are just fighting amongst each other.
Yes.
And this kind of puts a whole new another level, I guess, to this battle, because now it looks like these Decepticons are going to be more united. Let's say, I think Starscream might not be on board, but all the people that were following him, he's like, Astrotrain, get me out of here, and Astrotrain's like, oh, Megatron's here. I follow Megatron. I don't know if he says that, but that's the feeling I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, then you see the Autobots on the ground, and I think you just see the shadows of Megatron and Starscream and Soundwave, and like they're kind of got their backs up against the wall. And Optimus Prime's like, "Well, we got to get out of here, call for a retreat." And I think that's where it ended. So
yeah,
does not look good for the Autobots, but big action all the way around. That fight between Bruticus and Devastator, I thought that was awesome.
Great issue, agreed. Great ending to the issue. Finally, that you have him showing up, and there's a lot of interesting things like the fact that Optimus Prime is
and then those soldiers too that took Ultra Magnus.
Yes,
that's another little wrinkle in the story. I didn't even know who those soldiers are.
So I didn't know this, Chris. Maybe you knew this because, like I said, my knowledge of like Transformers GI Joe is limited. I had to look it up because I was curious. Ultra Magnus is Optimus Prime's brother. Did you know that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact lore behind it, but I do remember like he was like another leader type figure, just because it was such like the toy itself was humongous. Like this was a playset that turned into a giant robot.
He essentially came from the same creator as Optimus Prime. And for whatever reason, I fell down the rabbit hole reading up on this. For whatever reason, Optimus Prime was picked over Ultra Magnus. But Ultra Magnus, like you said, his stature and like how like respected he is and everything else is basically just as good as Optimus Prime.
Yeah, he carries a lot of weight, let's say.
Right. So that's what makes what's going on very. There's a lot going on in the story right now, honestly, guys. Like, and then I even had to read up on the Devastators because there was a whole like the Decepticon people are fighting essentially against each other right now. There's a whole brouhaha happening between the different Devastators because there could only be one Devastator, I guess, because they're made up of all like other parts of like the which is interesting in and of itself. Then you got, like you said, the Starscream friggin' what's his name? Like like situation going on. This is still the best, most consistent book out of all the Energon universe stuff right now. I'm gonna say that flat out, honestly. Between this and the Jorge Corona taking over for fucking Daniel Warren Johnson, good stuff. Honestly, overall, it's still a pretty fucking good, enjoyable book coming out. Yeah. I think it's still the one that's most consistently been the best. And I think Daniel Warren Johnson has really proved that he can write it without drawing it and still do a good job. I will say that. And I was one of those people that like, oh, he's done after the 6th issue. I'm out. Like, I was like totally not like with it at first. I'm like, I might stay for a couple of issues, but it's still good. Still good. I'll give him that, right? Like, you're enjoying it, right? Like, it's good
stuff.
Yeah.
4.25.
Same. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Iron Man number 6, Chris.
Yeah, I got hosed on this one here. The solicitations got me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
I
I've
know.
been enjoying the Iron Man stuff, like back from the what's that the Emma Frost Iron Man. So I figured I'd kind of check in. I wasn't a big fan of what was going on in the beginning, and then it sounds like this was the jumping on point. Got my issue here.
Yeah.
Hey, the cover looked half decent there. We got Iron Man trying to get back into the war industry. But basically, a lot of this issue is just a bunch of negotiation. I guess he's talking to some Latveria dissenters or something, like some inside people that they're trying to make some sort of plan on how they can overthrow Doctor Doom. And his plan is basically for Iron Man to make weapons for Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom, of course, he would stockpile all these weapons in Latveria. And this dissenter, he would believe that the people of Latveria would stand up against Doctor Doom and overthrow him, and that way all those weapons would be there for the people's army to take. And then they were going to give him Iron Man was going to give him some crypto wallet or something so to help fund all this insurgent activity. Let's say
Hmm.
that was all whole hum stuff. I think I don't know if Doctor Doom even gets involved in here, but Black Widow's in here. It was nice seeing Black Widow sort of in the mix with Tony Stark. But I think at the end, it's another board meeting. He goes, "Oh, we're back in the weapons business or something," and I guess that's a big swerve there. So wasn't as good as or as great as I expected to be. But it does move this Doctor Doom story. It puts another little wrinkle into kind of the life of the world outside of the main story of what people are up to trying to overthrow Doom. But I wouldn't be continuing on this in this arc.
I I just read this issue. I also read this just because you said you might check it out, and it was the One World Under Doom banner. But I wasn't very impressed with this issue. Yeah, either. As you can see, I was been trying to put up some art up here and trying to flip through and see if I could find. I thought I had some art for this issue, but I don't think I loaded up any. So that being said, yeah, it wasn't worth your while, honestly. Like I tried it out. It was okay, but like at the end of the day, it was like the whole big reveal at the end of this was that Iron Man was basically going to sell weapons to a Doctor Doom for whatever reason, which was
Yeah,
like a surprise, I guess, even though he was like adamantly against it. And then like they had like some sort of whole social political kind of view about like, oh, if you aid him, this will be a way to basically bring him down or something. And I'm
yeah,
just like, okay, I don't really care. Like it seemed like just ingenuous to like, you know what I mean, like the current storyline that's going on. I'm just like, okay, I don't, or not even like that, even to the Marvel universe. I don't know what the current storyline is currently, but I just like, yeah, this does not seem to track for me at least. And I was just like, okay, I get that they're going for something here where it's like back to Iron Man, Tony Stark, the like terrorist weapon like person essentially, right? I was just like, yeah, I don't need to read this. I
yeah.
was
Neither
like,
do.
yeah, neither do I. So what'd you give this?
Yeah, it's 3.25.
That's exactly the rating I was thinking. Yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't that good either. So there you go. That's the rating. All right, let's talk about all new Venom #4.
Venom number 4. There we go. We got Modoc in the mix.
Yeah,
Really, the only reason I've been reading this all new Venom was just because Carlos Gomez. I was hoping for some bit more Mary Jane action in there, and the depiction of Paul has been just spot on in the first couple issues. Unfortunately, there's no Mary Jane or Paul in this issue, and it's a lot of stuff. Just more of this mystery of who the new Venom is, and I think they've taken another character off the table. They have a little kind of wordplay or between what's that? Rick Jones and Robbie. Is it Robbie? Yeah, Robbie Robertson, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and they're sort of kind of sitting in the office, kind of humming and hawing. But this Carlos Gomez, I've never seen Madame Mask look this good.
I
Like this is
agree. I agree.
This is reinventing Madame Mask. This is going to put her into like A-level territory.
Yes.
If they had Carlos Gomez doing this gang war, that gang war might have had a whole different rating.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I've never seen her look this good.
And in this panel here, though, when did they start killing people? Like just randoms. Like this is like there. She just shoots somebody like square in the head.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much. Well, maybe not an innocent bystander, but a bystander nonetheless.
Yeah.
And this isn't like oh, I got shot in the shoulder. You're getting hit with like a psychic bullet or something. She just looks like she pulls out a gun and freaking offs them. But we'll see where that goes. But anyways, all this other stuff with Robbie and yeah, that's not bad at all. But Robbie and Rick, they're kind of humming and hawing who this new Venom is, and they both sort of have alibis to their stories. And then they get this news that Madame Mask is, kind of taking care of or up to no good on this rooftop. And all of a sudden, they both sort of, or first Rick Jones, since he's the reporter of superhero stuff, he goes, "I gotta go," and he takes off. And then after that, you see Robbie Robertson. He's kind of calling, I don't know, I guess the secretary, kind of cancel my appointments. I got somewhere to be. So they're still putting an allusion to it's either both of them. But they take Rick Jones off the table. They almost pretend like he's Venom because Venom is there. But then you see a symbiote sort of goo come out of Rick Jones. You go, oh, what's happening? But he turns out to be Sleeper. And it sounds like as he's the Sleeper agent, he has no recollection of it, it seems. I don't know if you read this, if you got that feeling of it too.
No, he doesn't even know what's going on when he shows up at the scene there. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and then they go battle there. And then there's some funny scenes there where I think Madame Mask tries to shoot or MODOK gets that PIM particle and I guess shrinks himself down to a bullet, and Madame Mask is supposed to shoot, I guess, somebody in the head there, and he'd be able to sort of take control of like a whole government wing, let's say. But of course, Venom comes to save the day, and he swallows the bullet, and then his freaking head explodes, and then MODOK comes out, and he's just all pissed off and sort of reveals what that plan was. It's not a bad issue, for what the last Venom series was and what this Venom series is. I'm preferring this one over the last one. That last one was just way too wacky. And I think, it's some anti-Venom there. I guess they're keeping all they have a few Venoms in lockup, and they're trying to plan out what to do with them. And it looks like they're going to go after Dylan Brock too. So they got a lot of, couple balls in the air that are semi-interesting.
I've been reading this mostly for the fact that Carlos Gomez is drawing it, as well as the fact that it's been pretty fun, and I long for the ride to figure out who this Venom is. I'm sure it's going to be stupid by the end of this reveal, and
yeah,
it does seem like it's going to be Paul because he hasn't showed up since like the first issue. And they're slowly like saying that it's not Madame Mask, it's not Rick Jones, like, so it's gonna be fucking Paul. I'm pretty certain it's gonna be Paul because like that's the only way you could redeem or at least make some people interested in this character at all, because people did not like this character when he made his debut in Spider-Man. That being said, what?
I think Paul's got that heel heat. He's like the Dominic Mysterio of the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
like,
he's the
fuck everybody loves to hate him, and
he's the fuck boy of the Marvel universe. I agree.
That's it, he's getting traction. Either way, it's bad or good. At least nobody. It's not like nobody doesn't care about him. Everybody just hates him, and
yeah.
So no news is good news, I guess.
He's got that going for him. Exactly. So I guess we'll see. I'm pretty certain it's him. But anyways, like that's just like a red herring where it's just like you thought it was going to be him, and it's like someone that isn't even on the board that it turns out to be, right? But if everybody is on the board that they've introduced so far, it seems to be him so far. I'll say that. And it would be the smartest decision on their part, being that he was not very well received, especially on this podcast. Not even on this podcast. On this show, in general, everyone I've spoken to, no one likes Paul. I'll tell you that right now. So I think that would be the only good thing he had going for him if he turned out to be this all new Venom. But yeah, good stuff. It's a fun comic. I'll give it that. It is enjoyable. It's keeping my interest. What'd you give this, Chris?
Yeah, when this art will bump that score up, but I'll give it a 3.75.
Same. Yep. Love some Carlos Gomez. All right. Next up, I got Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom #1. This is like a one shot again. One of these new one shots from J. Michael Straczynski. These team up books. This was fine. It wasn't that good. This is basically like, I don't know, them telling a past story of Nick Fury even prior to being part of Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. And by the end of the issue, you get to the point where he's Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. But like they tell about him being, I guess this is prior to World War II because there's like some tension. He's trying to sort out between like the whole thing between China and Japan and like their involvement in World War II. And he basically has to go over there and suss out what's happening. And he finds out that there's a big creature that Japan has access to, which is Fin Fang Foom. And then Fin Fang Foom attacks him when he's in the plane or whatever. And it kind of just goes from there. I don't know. I just felt like exactly what you would expect, like this a thrown together purposeful storyline that they're trying to interject between a character's history and the comics and also real world events. So it just felt ingenuine in that sense. So for that matter, I'll give this a 3 out of 5. It was fine. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought this was going to be a lot more better and fun, and even in comparison to all the other team up stories that we've had so far from this whole J. Michael Straczynski does team up single issues that he's been doing. This was my least favorite so far. I think the Thor one and whatever, what's his name? The guy from the Warriors 3 was better. I also think the Heimdall, I think, right? Is his name. That one was better.
Yeah.
And the
And
first
Dr. Booman.
and Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, that one was my favorite out of all these, actually. Yeah, you see at the end here how he's now it's Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos, but that's the way they got there. I was like, this is so hokey. Yeah, I didn't like it all that much. But I think the Doctor Doom Rocket Raccoon one was the best one for whatever reason so far. I feel like every issue that's come out, or the 3 that have come out so far, they've been progressively getting worse. So I don't know what's up next, but like I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll see. Anyways, all right, Chris. Speaking of some war comics, we got Hell Hunters #4 this week.
Oof.
This is a lot of fun, man. This is a
This
lot
is
of fun.
this
Yeah,
is better, way better than I thought it'd be.
absolutely.
I'm
I
glad I went in on this. Had some great characters there, and this Daredevil and Bucky or whatever, this little kid is a little psychopath, and I love it. He's just, I think they're shooting up that whatever the unhallowed monster there, and I guess they have that Doctor Strange type of character, the magic guy. He kind of upgrades all their weapons, and they're freaking just dropping bombs on it. Then Ghost Rider takes the tank, and you can just feel that tank freaking blowing the hell out of this thing. And then when you get to go up to see this thing, it's still all their like the Nazi soldiers. They're all freaking just
right here.
in there, being all freaking mutilated. Just like just kill me. And that Bucky there, he's trying to cut one of their heads off, and I don't know who's telling him like, no, you can't do it. Then out of nowhere, freaking Wolverine pops out of the corpse of this thing. I don't even remember him going inside there. Maybe he got swallowed in the earlier issue or
He
something.
did. He did. Yeah.
And, he just comes out no worse for wear. The one thing I don't, wouldn't Wolverine still have his bone claws and know about them?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But anyways, if you drop that part of the story, because he just seems to be like, I think when we first met him, he had those swords, and then here he's kind of got some brass knuckles. But anyways, once they kill this thing, that thing says, I was just here to slow you down. And and I guess whatever the other unhallowed army has moved on to France and Britain, and they've frozen the river there, so the English Channel, so all the demons can cross over, and they're all about to kind of, okay, we got to regroup, and Ghost Rider's like, no, we can't. This is what I'm fighting for, and then the demon that sort of gave Ghost Rider his powers, he kind of comes to fruition. And, he gives those guys a deal. We got to kill this Cthulhu or whatever. Well, I forget what his name is. We got to kill this demon, and he sort of, I'm going to give you weapons from time beyond or something. So Wolverine kind of gets some Hellfire claws. I think Bucky, he gets his Winter Soldier arm. Captain Carter, you see with the American with the Captain America shield.
Yeah.
So that was that was a nice scene there. And then they go back. They're back in the middle of battle. Then and freaking Ghost Rider shows up in like a B-52 bomber or something, blasting things out. All great stuff.
It's one of the funnest things I've read this week, honestly. Like you said, I'm so happy that this was what I wanted this series to be, as opposed to what I was hoping it wasn't, where the premise of like how cool of a comic this could possibly be didn't pan out. And I wasn't so sure with the first issue, to the point where I didn't buy this. I didn't buy the issue of this, but I'm like, if that's good, I'll pick up the collection. I'm totally all in on the collection now. This is a fun fucking series. I'll definitely revisit it at one point. Honestly, it's I love what's going on in this series. It's a great mini series, and definitely one you should all check out if you have any interest in any of these characters, or even like an alternate take of them during this period of time. This whole hell universe that's being created right now between, I can't speak for Helverine, but the Hell Hunter characters in this book with Bucky and everybody else, great stuff. I love it.
You compare this to like that what they did one with Captain America a while ago, where he turned into the werewolf. Like that one was garbage.
I agree.
This could have been the same thing, but this is so much better.
That's a good fucking comparison. Absolutely. This is way better than that was. I remember we read all that miniseries too in the hopes it was going to be fun. Like this.
Like if you read the solicitation, it's almost the same idea. You could, they'd hype it up just the same, but this one's good.
That's a great comparison. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. This is way better. What'd you give this?
I give it a 4.25.
Absolutely. Yep. Same. Good stuff. All right. Next up, we got West Coast Avengers number 5.
Well, we can decide. I don't know if you want to spend a lot of time on this one, but I guess the big thing is the Avengers are showing up in here. I thought that was a big deal there. You got got Vision and Storm sort of checking in on War Machine, and say, hey, what's going on here? You guys got Ultron. You guys sure you're okay? Then Tony Stark kind of pops in and goes, hey, we got everything under control. I really can't see Tony Stark freaking taking a backseat to Vision and Storm. If he had something to say, he'd say it. And then they got some battle with Flag Smasher. He seems to be up to no good. I think they feel like he's getting played, and I feel like that's what's happening. Kind of, it leaked out to where he's up to, and then when he gets captured, he's kind of smiling. Oh, you got the best of me this time. So he's almost pulling one of those Loki scenes from the MCU. He's exactly where he wants to be. But one thing that took me out of this comic, though, is like the art was decent for a while, but near the end, it just freaking dropped off. Like it just went super cartoony.
That's this book's problem. I don't like the artists that are on this book. Yeah, I agree. Or the artist that's been on this book. No, I don't. I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, like when they're talking about the stuff with Firestar and what's his name, the Blue Bolt or whatever his name is. Then they kind of have these big scenes, where they're surprised and they all got the big eyes and stuff like that. It's like, oh, come on, And then I guess the big reveal here is that she decides that she needs to go into rehab there because she's been struggling with some things, I guess, since Krakoa. And then the Avengers just basically show up in force now, saying, "Hey, we think you guys have been compromised. We got to talk about stuff." And I think the best panel was almost the panel at the end of the comic where it's just teasing the beginning there. That was a nice. I don't know if that's the cover for the next one, but that looked like some good art there.
How about the fact that at the end of the day, he revealed to the media his new name is Wonder Man Blue Bolt, and then Wonder Man gets super fucking pissed.
I did like seeing Wonder Man show up there.
That was great. It looks like Wonder Man has issue with the fact that he took his name, even though
and it sounds like this Blue Bolt guy had some history with them.
Yeah,
maybe unknown to Wonder Man, so maybe. But that's probably gonna be a fucking baloney backstory though too. I do like seeing Wonder Man in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the Avengers, like you said, show up at the end here. I actually think that this might be one of the issues where it's finally starting to click into place some of the interesting threads that he's been building here between the Starfire going to, or sorry, not Starfire. What the fuck is there? Firestar going into rehab. Between that and the fuck that Blue Bolt says I want to be Wonder Man now, and the Ultron stuff and the Avengers showing up at the end of the issue, he's got enough threads going on now where I'm like, okay, Duggan's finally got the ball rolling in terms of interesting things I actually want to see play out finally, because he's taken like almost a full arc, 5 issues that actually get to this point so far. Where I always said every issue, something's missing, something's missing, something's missing. Now I'm like, okay, he's got enough interesting things in the pot now, or I'm like, okay, I kind of interested to see where this is gonna play out. I like this issue actually quite a bit. I was like, okay, he's got 3 or 4 interesting storylines going on now where I'd like to see where they head. So yeah, I like this one, but I hear you. There was some bad things about it too. The art being one of them. I agree with you. The art's nothing to write home about. So yeah, what'd you give this?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3.5.
I'll give it a 3.75. That's because of the art, though. If it wasn't for that art on this issue, I would give it a little bit more. I like this. All right, X Factor number 8. There you go.
Did we not do X-Men before this? And it's just part of this manhunt, and X Factor came in. Like I think X Factor's or X-Men is part 4,
Oh,
and then X Factor is part 5.
Oh, I'm
Isn't it?
sorry. Is X Factor? I think is before X-Men, is it not? Or am I wrong? Oh, you're
No,
right. Yes. So sorry. X-Men first. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you're right. X-Men is first. X-Men 13. Yeah, so let's bring that up on the screen. All right. Yeah, good call. Because this X-Manhunt event. I got this one here. Hold on.
Yeah, I got this one as well.
I got the Storm cover for X-Men.
No, I just got the regular A cover.
Yeah, there you go.
And this series is picking up some steam here. You know, the last issue with Storm fighting the X-Men and basically freaking handing them their ass. I thought that was decent. And, you know, at least in the X-Men comic here, you know, the X-Men freaking come up with an answer. And they kick some serious ass here too. You know, the battle between what's his name? Kid Omega and Professor X. I thought that was pretty interesting, you know. And the stuff they do with you know, Magic has some scene there where she pops out and, you know, just kind of pulls that yoink and takes Magneto's helmet and freaking drops it on Professor X's head. I guess the plan was they had to first figure out a way to get that helmet off of Professor X's head. And I guess all the while they're doing this or battling, I guess they're over San Francisco, and everybody in the area seems to be under some sort of psychic stress from this battle. And yeah, just the battle with Storm was good. And you know, what's that? Kid Omega has Cassandra Nova, sort of like a version of Cassandra Nova stored in his brain somewhere.
Yeah, he had her as like he had her in his like subconscious as a way to like if Professor X got into his head, he could use it against them. Yeah, that's
So you know, that was a nice swerve there. I'm not super familiar with Cassandra Nova. And then they're finding out that Storm was possessed by something. I didn't see where that came from. That sort of came out of nowhere.
Chris, that was the one issue of Storm you didn't read on the week that I told you. It was like yeah, that was in Storm number 5 prior to Storm number 6. She got taken over by a god of some sort, like in the Marvel universe. That's what I was trying to tell. That was the issue I liked the least out of the series so far, because it was very cerebral and it was talking about how the god took her over and everything else. But that is the power that was in her right now. That was the one issue you didn't read. That's why you don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I guess that God still has influence over her actions then too, because this wasn't, you know, a sound mind Storm. I guess it sounds like she had control, but
yes.
But either way, and then at the end, freaking X Factor showing up. You know, once they do defeat Professor X, and you get these guys showing up. You know, and of course you think they're a joke, but we'll find out if they are or not.
What you give this? I quite like this. I agree with you. In the middle of this whole stupid crossover that they've done, I've actually enjoyed from Storm And these two issues that we're going to
Yeah,
talk about
the
today,
3 issues were great. You know, that
absolutely.
stupid one with whatever I know was NYX or whatever.
And Uncanny, and yeah. This is
Yeah, the baloney. But these ones, I really did like this one.
same.
I'd give this one. I know it's ready for a 4 though, but it could. I'll give it a 3.75 though.
That's where I'm at. 3.75 out of 5. X-Men 13, absolutely. All right, then. X Factor number 8. I got that here too. Yeah.
I got this one as well.
Yep.
I'm talking about moving the story ahead. This one was another great issue.
Yeah.
This sort of has been playing as a joke, and I think they almost kind of laid into that a bit. But they do show that this X Factor team is still no joke.
That's
They
right.
got some freaking power to them.
They brought Havoc back into the picture in this issue too,
Yep.
because and the fact that he has a relationship, because obviously Cyclops is his brother. Great stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I did think it was funny though when they have Havoc in his apartment, and who shows up? Temper or somebody shows up.
Yeah.
He's got a lawn chair inside, and that's it. Like, you know, they didn't lose that sort of that jokey tone.
Yeah, she's like, well, this is kind of sad, whatever's going on here.
But, you know, when it did come time to throw down,
yeah.
You know, like, they're talking about, what's that, Angel or Warren? You know, that was a swerve there where, goes, oh, because, like, they kind of even mentioned, it goes, how come it took you so long to heal? Don't you have some healing power? And then, he kind of, there's a big reveal here, goes, oh, I did a little bit more than heal. I some upgrades. And he freaking turns into Archangel.
Yeah.
And, I remember the time of Archangel. He was a badass. He's got some edge to him, let's say.
But now this is like implants. Like they had to actually put this metal shit in him and alter him somehow, because before, as a result of Apocalypse or whatever, he can just naturally turn into this. But now he can't. So like he said when he was in the hospital, like what he alluded to was almost like this is like they basically made this version of him. Yeah. Which is kind of cool because like you can tell, like it looks like there's like actual like mechanical pieces on his talons and his arms and stuff like that. That's very cool. I like that reveal. I was like, oh
yeah, I like that reveal. And then then you got to throw down between what's his name, Cyclops and Havoc. It's always great when they fight each other because their sort of powers cancel each other out. But then I did like Cyclops kind of hitting the dirt in front of him, so the freaking smoke goes in his eyes, and they're all sort of fighting it out. And then there was like some story of who's that? There was a Temper that's with Havoc.
Yeah.
And then I guess she had some like implanted memories, I guess, from Professor X, because he kind of shows up there and goes, oh, everybody's exactly where I want you to be. And and then there's this golden egg. I guess so there's somebody some mysterious person inside there. And just other things that went on in this issue too, with that forget-me-not guy. That's still, even though they only use him for one panel.
Who is that? Who is that? I don't know.
I don't know. And he just might push somebody, and that's it. And then with Granny's Granny Smith, they're like, "What's your power?" She goes, "I can't die." He goes, "So if we don't engage you, nothing happens." And she's like, "I guess."
Yeah.
Goes, you're neutralized just like that.
Yeah, you're potentially useless.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I felt that they still kind of kept the same tone of X Factor, but they did show a grittier, a meaner side to this team, that they're not just a joke.
Absolutely. I love this issue. Also, this egg thing here that he revealed at the end there, it's like the last possible
or something
resurrection of Krakoa available, which is like this is a huge thing to happen in the pages of this book, honestly. Like I listen, I don't know if it's because like this is on the verge of cancellation, which is people are suspecting already, but I really, honestly, if you guys slept on this series, this is a good fucking X-Men series. I will stand by that. I enjoy this series, and this was honestly one of my favorite issues of this whole crossover, if not my favorite issue so far. This is a really good issue. It really, like you said, you think these people are a joke. They kept with the humor in this issue, yet they also illustrated the fact that these people can stand toe to toe with the actual X-Men team right now. Like you have
Yeah.
Havoc, you have you have Angel. These are not like these are some heavy hitters on this team. Yes, we
Yeah.
also have Forget Me Not and fucking Granny, but whatever. Anyways, what'd you give this?
I can't give it a 4 though. I want to, I really do, but I'll give it a 3.75.
I'm there. After talking about it, 4. I'll give it. I don't care. It's good stuff. I like this stuff.
Yeah, but
Uh,
this event is really taking a turn here.
it has. The middle of it has gone good. Amazing Spider-Man 69 is our final book here today. Ed McGuinness and Joe Kelly back on the book for this last couple of issues. New creative team for the book as well. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, okay, but baloney cover. That's all I got to say. I'm not a big fan of that. But when I read this thing, I was totally engaged to the story the whole time, all the way through from front to end. When that end came in, I thought, like, was this only like 5 pages or something? I had to go back over to make sure this was like a full comic here. And I did enjoy this issue. Whether this series had to be, I don't know how many issues it is. This could have been done in 4 issues, I believe.
Absolutely.
But you know, just kind of the turnaround of this, whatever the scion of Sidorak kind of, you know, finds her humanity, let's say, and then she sacrifices herself to give Peter Parker the power to come back. I thought that was, you know, that was a good way to bring him back from death. You know, I didn't know how they're going to kind of walk that one back, and then you know, just having him turn into the Juggernaut. I thought the art was great for that, and I don't know. I just read through this super quick. I was just engaged the whole time. You know, that I guess Doctor Doom was there, but you know, just him kind of verbally sparring with Doctor Strange. You know, even though it's sort of under this one world under, I guess not really the one world under Doom. I guess it is, but it still seems to be a different Doom than the one world under Doom that's going out there. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
Doctor Strange even giving Doctor Doom shit, he goes, "Why the hell aren't you doing this? This is your, you know, these are your duties as the Sorcerer Supreme. You know, you're wasting your time, you know, with your world domination stuff. This is, you know, there's going to be no world here to dominate because of all this stuff that's going on." So I did enjoy this issue.
I agree. I also enjoy this issue, but this is like one of those situations where you can only polish a turd so much.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this storyline, like you said, could have been done in a lot lesser issues, and this is obviously was like a stopgap between creative teams for them to figure out what they were doing. Even though Joe Kelly is the guy who's going to be writing the new series, maybe they hadn't decided at that time whether or not he
I
was.
guarantee Joe Kelly was plan B. They were hoping to freaking snag somebody else for this.
I agree. So that being said, him and then McGuinness make a good team. There was some good art in this, and the story wrapped up decently enough. Overall, though, I think this story was dog shit, and
Yeah, this has been a long run for a short slide. Like,
we got Spider-Man Juggernaut in the last issue of this current series of Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man
this is
before
the
it gets
payoff.
rebooted at the end of this with the next issue. It's issue 70,
Like,
and
is this been 9, 10 issues altogether?
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm paying. I paid what, $50 at least just to see freaking Spider-Man turn into Juggernaut. Paid $50 to get one good issue. Come on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. So this was shit. But this issue wasn't bad. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75.
I agree. Yeah. Overall, though, the last like several issues, like a 3.
Oh yeah. Like,
2.75. Yeah.
there's no like, I don't know how they can redeem this arc. You know, whether they got one more issue to go, I imagine.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, this whole arc or this run here, at least it was a regular arc, it'd only be 6 issues. And I'm not a big fan of these freaking arcs to begin with. And then you give us an extended arc that's extendedly crappy. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. All right. So that's going to be it for the books that we read this week. We want to talk about. What are you looking forward to reading next week, Chris?
Let's see what we got here. So Marvel, this is the week of March 19th. We got One World Under Doom, #2. I'm buying that. I think I'm just reading the Avengers. Magic #3. We'll see if that shows up. I read the Deadpool Wolverine. I get back into that world. Forgot what's happening there. That seems to be it for Marvel. So maybe it'll be a smaller week next week. See what DC's got for us. Absolute Batman 6. Try and read Detective, Nightwing, Absolute Flash. We got Batman and Superman coming out. I'm not reading that though. Catwoman 74, Zatanna 2. And it looks like that's it for that for DC. Oops. And let's see, we got an image. We got G.I. Joe 5. Maybe I'll try and get World Tree in there. Deviant 9. Forgot about that one there. Thought that was
Yeah.
going to wrap up by Christmas. I guess not.
No.
Bug Wars 2, Sacrificers 15, going to some wacky worlds there.
Yeah.
And let's see. Drawing Blood 6 is out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be about it, unless Dark Horse has got something kicking around. But yeah, nothing I see there.
Yeah. So a lot of the same stuff you said. Did you mention Absolute Flash?
Yeah.
Absolute Flash. I'm reading Batman Robin Year 1, Batman Superman World's Finest. Let's see here. Detective Comics 1095, G.I. Joe 5, Magic 3, One World Under Doom #2. Do you have that next week on your list? Yeah. Sacrificers 15, Psylocke 5, which is, I think, the last issue of that series, Zatanna 2, and a couple other ones that you mentioned that I'm digitally reading, but that's what I'm picking up the physical releases of. So there you go. That's next week. Not bad. Kind of a mishmash of books that I feel like I should have dropped sooner. It didn't, and other things that are like lingering around or ending. So it should be a mixed reaction of of a week there in terms of the quality of some of those books. But it's an interesting week nonetheless. Good to always talk comics. All right, Chris, what was your favorite book this week?
I know we got a lot in the running. There were some good ones this week.
There was. Yeah, I'm confused too. I don't know what I'm.
Actually, I got 4 in the running here. That's not
Not
I
common
can
to
go
you.
between I could go between Geiger, the vampires versus whatever, DC versus vampires, Hell Hunters, and Transformers. But I think I'm gonna have to give it to Hell Hunters. I
Yeah.
have to. I don't think I've given this #1 here.
No, you haven't. And I'm glad you picked it because I'm going to go a different direction with it. And that was definitely in my running. It was between Hell Hunters, DC versus Vampires, and Transformers are definitely in the mix, I would say. And we were talking about them. But for me, honestly, it was probably after talking about them, Hell Hunters and Babs #6. I'm going to go
Oh
Babs
yeah,
#6. I'm going to go
yeah.
Babs #6. Yeah.
That should be in the running too, but I didn't. I just read that digitally.
Right. So Babs #6 is my pick this week. Yeah, I think that was a great series overall. And I don't think that also got any of our favorites any week. So I'll give it up to Babs #6. But Hell Hunters #4, it's funny you picked that because if it wasn't Babs #6, it was going to be Hell Hunters #4. I'm sorry, it's that big giant dick that appeared in this issue.
Wasn't it just a scrotum?
Honestly, guys, check out this issue because it's so ridiculous. There's literally at one point the artist, the way they drew it, you didn't even know what you're looking at when it appeared because it's
Like his feet were off the ground, weren't they? And then weren't they talking like in the fallout of all this, like the field or something and like where this happened, they don't know what to do with it. Like there's just all this testicle everywhere.
that's the outcome afterwards. But the best part is,
Yeah, weren't they complaining like now all their crops and their fields are like ruined?
there's a fucking part before the part where you see the guy like actually in the air because this thing's so huge. There's a part where like she's standing there and you just see like a flesh colored like thing behind her, and you know, like it's like taking up the whole background of the panel. You don't know what you're looking at first because she says that, And then you're like, oh, okay, like, oh yeah, I casted like an overgrown fucking like a dick enlarger potion on you or whatever. Like she throws it in his mouth. And then the next page you switch to, you just see that in the back. I don't know, man. It was great. Like it totally threw me off 100%. I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on in this comic? So yeah, it made me laugh to no end, as you can tell. So I got to give it up to that comic this week. Yeah. Overall, though, it was a great series. I think it was very good. One of the better Garth Ennis things I think he's written in recent years. So good stuff. All right, guys, let's get do it for this week. And again, apologies if I came off like I drank too much for this episode, but I didn't. So it's my birthday. Thank you to Chris for joining me once again. Always a good time. And we'll see you back here next week. Hopefully a little bit more sober. And we'll see you guys all then. Thank you. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.